Welcome to the Clueless Luthier. I'm Mark, and today we're going to work on setting and attaching the neck to the body of the guitar. First thing I'm going to do is something I didn't have to do last time because somehow it was adjusted. That is not the case this time. So let's take a look at that. So what I've done, let me move this a little centered. Oops. All right. So I made this last time. It's just a piece of plexiglass. I scored a line along the middle. I just cut a little short so it was a little long for this to work. And what I need to do is sand this heel so that this, which is kind of dirty, centers exactly with the guitar. And if you can see it, I have a pencil mark on that center seam to make it easier to see. And as you can also see, it doesn't match. So I have got to sand it so that, for one thing, this centers like that, which means basically taking some off this side. But right now I'm happy with how this lines up with the guitar. That part I'm good with. So I also need to have it fit nice and snug on both sides. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of both. But in the process, I'll take a little bit more off this side here. So what I've got is backed paper. It's the kind you can stick on, so it's nice and slippery. And what I want to do is pull it under here, hold this on, not too tight, and pull it. It's really awkward trying to hold this and make that work. Also, car going by, takes a lot of patience. I'm going to be doing this a while. Okay, I have the first thing I wanted to do was get it centered. So I only worked on this side, and you can see now it matches up with that pencil mark. So off it goes. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to alternate between the right and the left until the same number of pulls to make sure that I don't lose that center mark, but I also get this the neck seating nice and tight. The other thing I hadn't mentioned is, that I learned is, it's important to, when you pull this, to pull down so that you don't, tendency would be to go like this and maybe sand too much here. So pulling down helps prevent that. One more time here, place, like that. So that's the next thing to do. Before I go on to the next step, I want to talk about a problem I had. I went ahead and got everything centered and sanded and fit the way I showed you, but I was still concerned. When I did use the router and I, use it to make the tenon, something slipped. And it was off in multiple ways. I don't know what happened, which is what bothers me. Because I thought I had it squared off. Anyway. It was off like a bit. So I ended up finally gluing on, I hope no one does a reset on, neck reset on this someday. It was very embarrassing. But when I got it to size, it was too narrow. I added this on, I glued it on, in fact I just did. And I also went ahead and glued that, how it was a little bit too deep I just wanted to make sure that it was exactly right. So I did the same thing with that small piece there. Very unprofessional looking, but it works. So the next step is to get this fastened on. So I did a video on this really with my last build, but I'm going to use the same attachment, the spiral nut, and what's going to happen is this is going to come from inside the body of the guitar, and it's going to fit in like this. Now I've marked the points. It's really tight to have two of these, but I still want to. I just don't like the idea of one point of contact. So I figured out where I could put them. I've made these marks. This is the center hole. I made the same measurements inside here, and I'm going to do this first. So let me grab my drill. Try this. Okay, I've got a 1/4 inch Forstner bit. It gives me a nice, ooh, what's happening here? Okay, that's better. Center point, and right there. It's got a little bit of a start. Make sure it's vertical this way. Let's see how I'm doing here. So basically, I didn't record it, but I put this in. I used the same Forstner bit with a point, pushed it up, and it's pretty darn close. Those marks are pretty much on center. So now I'm going to start working on this. All right, so I'm all set up. These are the holes that poked through. I'm clamping this together to make sure, because of the way the grain is going, just to make sure I don't split it out. Just put pressure on it. So, let's see. Oh, and the tape is to make sure I don't go too deep. It's to there. Yeah. Okay, now I have a 3/8 inch Forstner bit. I'm going to center that here. A little bit easier to see vertical from here. Boy, is that? I'm a little unhappy. I blew out some of the wood here, but it'll be all right. Now let's see how this lines up. All right, I've got the screws in, bolts in here. I have these in place, centered. Now let's see how it fits. I'm going to do this without pushing these all the way out. Might be tricky. Okay. Get started maybe. Feels like it is. This is going to be the trickier one. Okay. Okay, it feels like they grabbed. Probably gonna have to do this multiple times too. I want to make sure it fits before we go any further. Well, it's starting to look like a guitar shape. I'm gonna take this back off. There's a little bit of tweaking I think I have to do to get it just right. It's a little bit, it wants to go this way a little bit. So that scab piece I put in there, I'm going to do a little work on that. So let me, I'll do that off camera. So the next thing that I did, I used that small Stumat plane on my drill press to thickness the headstock so that the tuners will fit correctly. I then used a cylindrical sander attachment on the drill press as well to sand what I had just planed down and also transition into a curve at the neck where it meets. The nice thing about finishing up with that sander is that it smooths it out nicely, and I was able to get this nice curve up at the end that I'll use later. So the last thing to do, at least tonight, I'm going to glue on the fretboard and let it sit overnight. So let me get rearranged here and we'll do that. So one of the challenges I had is that I've never done a truss rod that points towards headstock. They've always pointed inside, and they were just different. It was really easy to just poke a hole so that only that showed, and it couldn't go anywhere. That is not the case. And the way this is constructed, I don't know that I could have done a whole lot about it. Maybe I could have just done a hole, but man, oops, sorry, should be like that. I just don't see it. So when I put the glue in, I'm gonna just use some extra tight bond in here to hold it in place. If it ever has to come out, tight bond's easy to remove and it won't be a problem. So I think I've got everything ready here. Let's get this glued up. All right, I'm gonna let this set up overnight now. Well, that worked out fine. It's a nice glue joint, so I think I'm in good shape. So that's it for this video. I'm a little afraid it's getting a little long, we'll see. But hey, thanks for stopping by. I Next, we're going to start working on the headstock covers, so I hope to see you back soon. Bye.